That's ISO.
Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the
every realtor's talked about this before, but what is the major don't when you're looking for a house? What's the most important one?
Yeah, don't go buying anything. Don't go buying anything. I've had a couple clients come and apply with me and they say, I just bought a car. I just bought a truck. And I'm like, whoa, you should have come to me first, because now that truck payment has put you out of where you want to qualify. So really talk to your lender first and see what you qualify for without making any further purchases. Close on that house before you make any further purchases. Right. And that goes even after you're pre-approved, you're under contract to closing, because we will have had it happen, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Where people go and they'll buy appliances at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And we're like, whoa, wait a second, your debt to income ratios are now out of whack.
And we can't close. So I actually had it where in the buyer's mind, and I understand where that's coming from, that they thought that because they qualified for a house, that they qualified for a car too. Well, that's true, but now you don't qualify for both. You only qualified for one. And so it ended up, any purchases that you make reduce your purchasing power when you're trying to buy a house. It also goes the opposite way. If you're paying off debt and you're reducing credit cards, paying off a car, anything like that, that increases your purchasing power. So just keep that in mind, that you do not want your debt and you do not want your income to change when you're looking at the home purchase process.
Very, very good points. Exactly. And the other don'ts I would say not to do is, make sure that you make your payments on time. Sure. Don't miss payments. Even if it's a minimum payment, make sure that, that you make your payments, because any late payments will be a derogatory. Don't not follow our advice, right? So if we give you advice on how to get your credit scores up, let's just say you're off a few points to do a down payment assistance program, follow those guidelines and don't veer off and think to do what you think you would help. Right. Because you have to follow the system and the processes, and we have systems in place to show you exactly what you need to do. Correct. I would say don't spend the money that you're going to need. So you're going to need money for earnest money, which you can explain. Yeah. Money's play for home inspections. Correct. So those are monies outside of closing that you need up front. And then you're going to just need money when you go to closing, and that the lender is going to have to verify that you have sufficient funds to close. So don't spend the money that you will need in order to close on that house. Right. And then don't change jobs in the middle of getting a loan.
That's a terrible one to come across. It's like one of those, what were you thinking? But there is, it's kind of, don't go from, being a waitress to, a different sales job. And you could say that waitressing is the same as sales, but not to a lender or an underwriter necessarily. Right. If you're in the same field, so if you're a civil engineer and you leave your job to get a better job and you're still a civil engineer, that's one thing. But if you go from being a realtor to a mortgage person, it's the same field, but not necessarily the same position. So just keep that in mind. Don't turn down a promotion, but if you're staying in the same field, that's okay, right?
That's fine. And I mean, honestly, you can be in a different field and still qualify if you have a 2-year work history. I guess my point is once you're pre-approved and then you think you can get to the closing table, which I've had happen before. Oh, yeah. And all of a sudden we go to verify employment prior to closing and that person no longer works there. Right. That's the problem. But typically, they like to see it in the same line of work. Doesn't necessarily have to, as long as you have a 2-year work history. And then of course, if you are, let's just say you are going from being a W-2 person to, hey, I want to be a realtor. Well,
And-
realtors are commissioned and they're self-employed, so then you're going to need 2-year tax returns before we could use that income.
Right.
So that's an example, or you're going from a W-2 job to waitressing, and waitressing gets tips, right?
Right.
So that could be a detriment,
Right.
On that.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, for sure. But I had one exactly that happened today. I think we were together and he called me, and I had the situation where he was working for a temp agency, and temp agencies are very difficult in situations in order to approve for someone because it's temp. It's not a permanent position. So we did say, hey, we will revisit this once you're on that job for 12 months and look at it, because you have been doing the same type of job.
Right.
But right now we're gonna have to wait till January, or go find a job that's permanent and you're getting a salary.
Right.
So he just called me today and he said, I was laid off from my temp job.
Oh no!
And we just talked a month ago. He goes, but I did get a full-time permanent job.
Nice.
So that's a pro, right? So that's a
Yeah.
pro for him, meaning, well, that's great. Now
Yeah.
I can use that income versus before I couldn't because it was temporary. So those are just some examples. Everyone kind of has a fingerprint, and everyone's situation is a little bit different, and that's why the pre-approval process and bringing up any questions you have to your lender is really important, because even though,
and to us and to your realtor too, and the thing is that she's really good at what she does and I'm really good at what I do, and so anything real estate related is me, and if you ask me and it's lender related, I'm going to send you to Melanie and say, Melanie, you really need to talk to Melanie. Melanie's going to be able to figure out a solution for that. So we work together as partners to help you move forward with your loan and buying a house. So to me, I love the partnerships. That's my favorite.
I love that. It's true. I feel like,
Yeah.
once the buyers come into play, and then we have the lender, and, you have the realtor,
Yeah.
we're all a team, and we have to work as a team to get you to the finish line.
That's right.
And we're both, we're all here to help you with the same goal to get you there, and no question is silly, right? Because
Right.
we do this every day, so no question
Right.
is silly. Just ask it, even if you think, gosh, maybe this is going to be detrimental for my loan. Like, maybe something weird is happening and I'm going to tell my lender about it. I would rather know about it now than your contract or your earnest money being in jeopardy, because I can guide you through that. Right. Same thing with...
Same with me. Yeah. And so you had mentioned that I can talk more about earnest money. And so all homes, when you put down an offer, the seller is requesting, they want to know that you're serious about purchasing their home. And that's what earnest money is basically it's a deposit. So whether it's $1,000, depending on what you qualify for, it could be $5,000, that just comes right off the top. As soon as you go under contract, we have to get that to the title company, whoever's going to hold that money, which is generally the title company, within 24 hours. So we can't do a promissory note or anything like that after the fact. If you need to do something like that, we need to talk to the listing agent, and then we can find out if we can figure out a way to make that work. So generally, though, you're just going to have to write a check right away. The appraisal is your. Do you make them prepay for the appraisal?
We do.
Okay.
We do. Like, once they're under contract and the inspections have been completed, we request an appraisal fee, but then it's credited back at closing, showing us being paid.
Right. And then the inspection. And I will tell you this, there's two things that you don't want to do. Never skip your inspection, and always do a sewer scope with the camera.
That's good.
And so the main reason is there is a part of town south of here where Orangeburg. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Orangeburg, but basically in the 50s, the engineers decided to take cardboard and harden it. And so it was really good back then, but it's got a 50-year life cycle. Well, what I'm seeing is that it's starting to wilt and drop. And so it's time for all those to be replaced. And so you never know what's going on with the sewer. Yes. Yeah, I had to get somebody a brand new sewer. The seller was cooperative. I had a great listing agent, and so we were able to get that. But you never, because trees are mature here, You never know what's going on underneath. The ground moves. It could have, just shifted a little bit. Now the roots are getting in there. So never ever skip your sewer scope or your inspection.